But just to be sure, does this effectively pay to your membership of the PDP?
Well, I cannot. What I would simply tell you is, in my calculations and what it's been, the PDP and the Labour Party seems to be like the butterfly and the caterpillar. Two of them shared by the same egg. One must die for the other one to exist. So this is the natural progression. The PDP was the original table on which Nigeria did handle its transition from dictatorship to democracy. Now that table, as at now, 4 of its legs are not in one place. Kwankwaso took one leg of the table, Peter Obi took another leg of the table, Governor Wike and others with him took another leg of the table. So the only leg standing looks like what the Northerners will call Dangurugu. So whenever I go, people look at me and say, Yan Dangurugu, Kazo, the man of the one-legged man, have you come? I feel ashamed. And I know I do not want to remain to play the undertaker. I needed to move, and I watched, and I saw where the youth were moving to, and I saw where the majority of those you refer to as the Jonathanians in the PDP were moving to, and I simply had to think for the sake of my children and the future of the country. Since I believe this is where everybody in the PDP may finally come to, now that the agendists who returned from the APC came back with the same mindset of nepotism, have seemed to have captured our party. You simply need to understand when the things have changed. So we've moved.
But this is not the dominant narrative that we get from several other members, because the PDP, of course, they have a presidential candidate. They are rolling on with their campaign. Their candidate was in the States, and they are back. They say they are raring to go, contrary to what you say now.
Yes, people could pretentiously tell you, no, it's not true, I'm not moving. But it's not true. I used to be 20 years old. Today, I am a senior citizen. I can't pretend yesterday is still with me. It's gone. If they could not stop Kwankwaso moving, as I speak to you, when Buhari leaves, the Hausas will not see any figure to follow. Kwankwaso plays that pathfinder.
So the Labour Party was just...
The Labour Party is a new staging ground for all of us who intend to sustain the progress towards nation building. You cannot build a nation without equity, fairness, justice, and all. You can't. So what we have seen is the agendaists have come in, taken our party, and the party has now gotten dismembered. Nobody can stand as a Dangurugu. Nobody stands on one leg. The 4 legs are gone.
But how is it that, because I mean, we've met several people, some being on the program here, who say that yes, they're sympathetic to the PDP, but they won't leave their party. Some of them in the PDP, so, I mean, we had 2 from Edo State last time, and they say, well, yeah, we'll support them, but we're not leaving our party.
They can tell you that. Those are rhetorics. It's like the rhetorics of the Buhari's administration. Never changed anything. The rhetorics are fight corruption, corruption. Today they are the most corrupt. The PDP would not speak against the corruptions in the APC. Even as we're talking about the stealing of oil, they would not say it because they seem to have become Siamese twins. So if I mean well for Nigeria, why will I stay with a group that will not condemn the wholesale stealing of our oil because they don't want to offend the APC? Don't you understand?
But even within the Labour Party, you're already having your own intrigues, the crisis there, this disagreement accusing the youth leader of fraud.
No.
Already.
That's not a crisis. The youth leader came to me and I sat him down and I told him, I said, the APC and whatever party you have, the PCC, the Presidential Campaign Council, is normally very different from the party's National Working Committee. And he said, Oga, what's my offense? I said, you should not have never arrogated to yourself responsibilities not given. The PCC should be in charge of the presidential campaign and handling the volunteer groups, not you in the NWC trying to take position.
Because they're insisting that he forged signatures.
Listen,
and he's suspended.
It's not a forged signature. He, in order to gain authority for the things he was doing, he used old paperwork that had the signature of the former chairman. That is a crime. And I told him, calm down. If you sustain, you could be expelled. Let us bellow you down, and we could, when it cools down, bring you back to normal. You've done nothing that is good. You've made a mistake, which is human. Calm down. And that's what it is. He shouldn't have jumped in to take what was not allocated to him.
Does the party see it this way? Because if they do, one would have expected.
I am telling you the truth. I've just told you what the truth is.
Yeah.
This is what it is. And you can, sometimes you don't blame him, because the Labour Party took time in rolling out its issue. Look at me, okay? After they rolled out the members of the PCC, 1,240 something. After that, they now named directors, special advisors, and then you saw my name come up 3 days ago, and that's when I know I'm on board.
So is he going to hand over everything to the PCC and then
he
recall
is on
him?
suspension.
Yeah.
He is on suspension. He's not expelled.
Yeah, I know.
So not he's going to hand over anything to the pit. Nothing was given to him. He simply put his hand where he shouldn't put. And it's a simple issue.
Is it going to be
as a way to talk to everyone else, he was reprimanded, and everyone else will understand. You don't put your hand to take things from the pool that should be exclusive to the PTC. So it was like talking to one man, but everybody will understand. Oh boy, make it a no follow. The NWC of the party is not the same as the PCC. If the PCC doesn't allocate to you a responsibility, you have no right to put your hand and take. It doesn't work. So I think this issue is over, and that's what it is. Most people, and I don't blame them, don't understand this as I'm trying to explain to you. That's what happened.
But, yeah.
It's a really tricky one, because I see that even within the PDP, beg your pardon, the APC, that has also caused some furore. They've had to calm things down before they eventually, I think it moved the inauguration date, the inauguration date for the Presidential Campaign Council, to reconcile the difference between the members of the National Working Committee who wanted to be able to lead within the PCC, and then also members of the PCC as selected. I think they've been able to get past that now, and they've started their campaigns. But you know, some people will say that this is the early days. You are you're not a neophyte in politics. You know how 24 hours is a long time in politics, and the elections are not until February next year. So you still have the whole of November, December, and the whole of January to see where things will really settle. Some people will say the PDP looks like it's having, really big troubles right now. But who's to say that, it cannot solve all of these matters within a month?
We run a representative democracy. I represent the interests of the geography from where I hail. If I don't come there and the people from there do not agree, nobody can go there. So if we, like we had the Southern Caucus, make demand for inclusion, you don't include us, and we decide that as a whole we will pull out. We will pull out. If some snitches go behind and say, look, my people are demanding for the one leg, one hand, and the head of the cow. Don't worry, just give me the cow tail. That's enough for me. You're asking for what you want to eat. It doesn't represent the position of the caucus. So that's been the problem you've seen. It's not going to work. The people that we are supposed to represent have seen that we're not part of this decision making. Right now, in every party, the strength, the chairman, the PCC, the presidential candidate. How do you now start balancing things?
Because you made reference to Governor Wike, and Governor Wike has been very clear in terms of what he and 4 other governors are asking for. They said they're not looking for the sack of the national chairman. All they want is for him to keep your promise. The moment he does that, what's to say that the tide cannot change, and there will be huge questions as to what precisely the political setup is really going to look like?
Well, you also have to ask yourself the reasons why the other people refuse. Because they don't believe that Atiku will win the election. If they believe Atiku could win the election, they will concede. And when he wins, he will change everything. But because in their innermost mind, they don't think he will win. If they think he will win, they'll give up the chairman. And then when he wins, he will reconstitute the party in his own image.
No, but come on.
What I'm telling you is the insider game. If they believe he will win, they would not be struggling to hold the presidential candidacy and also to hold the chairmanship, to hold everything there is. What I see is as if the nepotism standards of the Buhari administration has now become a socially conditioning thing that has affected quite a lot of people.
But if you take a look at how their campaign started, because I think yesterday was, beg your pardon, on Saturday was when you officially kicked off your campaigns, as the Labour Party kicked off its campaign in Lafia, Nasarawa State. And you look at how the PDP kicked off its campaigns in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. They had quite a showing.
They had a showing because they were still doing what we were doing before. Pay money, rent the crowd, pay money to the bosses who will bring the crowd, and then do rally. That's different from what you're saying now, the youth-based organic movement, where the youths themselves, the Nigerians themselves, organically organize. And that's why you saw P2B do by putting Aisha Yusuf on the podium in Nasarawa, telling you that those youths who are all over the country organizing as structural leaders will be allowed to hold control and participate as stakeholders in the new enterprise. Note, you using one man in Abuja as a structural leader, no matter how the monkeys walk, it's only the baboon in Abuja that will eat. That's a different thing. Well, now, I used also notice that a lot of those who are amongst us who were there in Uyo started singing Obi Kerenke Obi. That tells you
No. That was an old video. The PDP students came out to say that that was an old video.
Listen to me. That's just rhetoric they're telling you. That is what happened. Now that tells you there are a lot of people who are still there in the tent whose mind are with where you saw how my friend and brother Lisametu said. He said the minute Peter will be moved, a lot was lost in him. A lot was lost in a lot of people. Because some of the governors who called me after my name was announced said, look, you know, we're not going to leave this youth off for Peter. I said, yes, I can see that, sir. We're all coming there. Most of them are young people. Why would they now see where the youth, who are some 2% of the voting population, are going to, and you now want to stay with the dinosaurs? No. The tomorrow of this country belongs to the youth, not to the dinosaurs.
You know what I mean? All political parties accuse themselves of renting and paying crowd, which is the usual narrative.
That's exactly what happened in the kickoff.
But what, in Lafia?
No, in the kickoff in Uyo, the one she was talking about.
But in Lafia, they're already saying that your party didn't even have the crowd, that they thought that the place was all going to be filled up, but it wasn't.
We are having a different kind of campaign. We are not doing the campaign based on pay the youths, pay the crowd, pay the owners or the bosses to bring people. We want to see the Nigerians who will bring themselves there. That's a totally different thing. We want to run an organic campaign in Labour Party, as opposed to the rent system that we used to do in the PDP, and as you see, the APC also does. So I think we need to change. Let us look at this organic-based, street-driven movement. I think we need to allow them a say. We needed to allow those organic organizers to hold the game, and that's why you saw it.
Let's allow our colleagues in Lagos to see as well. Go ahead, guys.
All right, thank you, Chamberlain. Let me just piggyback on that point, really, because I haven't described the Labour Party loosely as one of the legs of the PDP, as it were, and you're saying that some others have taken the legs and the current PDP is standing on just one leg. It then dovetails to the question about the support, the kind of votes you will then get. By the way, it's still not clear if you're a Labour Party member or still a PDP member. But it dovetails into that question of the kind of votes you will get, because some will say that the votes have been shared, really, across those four legs, as you put it. So if the crowd that we saw in Uyo, for example, was anything to go by going into the elections, some will say that translates into at least those votes in the bag, except you are saying that the same way you say the party used to pay for crowds, it also used to pay for the votes as well. So if we didn't see as much showing of crowd in Nasarawa, some will say that implies that we might not see as much showing of votes in the election.
Well, we have moved on. We believe there is a lot of voters right there on the Nigerian street. And the Labour Party is simply moving with the Nigerian street. As you can see, the movement on the streets is not being driven by P2B, or no, it is an organic movement driven by the Nigerian youth. And that's what it is. So we can't go back to the old ways of doing things. We seek to take advantage of this organic revolution, of this organic movement, of this new yearning by the people, and work with them. I agree that up to 85% of the PDP in the historical voting bloc are now following Labour. Never mind what the dinosaurs are telling you and the ability to rent crowds. No, we want to work with the organic people. We want to work with the Nigerian people. And I tell you, it's a gradual thing. The Labour Party wasn't known 6 months ago in the way it is known today. But the minute the problem came in the PDP, Mr. P2B moved. He wasn't the only one to move. Several people moved. And suddenly the youths looked at those who moved and said, this is where we're going to. And that we are very, very happy for the optics that we've seen. We have to now choose. Who do you want to follow? Is it the dinosaurs or the youths? I have decided to follow the youths. I have decided to be the same way the youths have now employed Mr. P2B for him to provide a face for their masquerade. I think that's where everybody wants to be. No parent today will want to be talking about his grandfather that he's buried when he has younger children to look after. Part of the reason why I decided on what I decided was because I have kids and I want to work for the tomorrow of the country and also the future of my children.
Well, and ironically, some will say that even today, right, even today, dinosaurs have such a huge following till today. I mean, you can tell from the franchise, the movies, you know, the toys and all of that. So, I mean, that's just by the side. I mean, since you're using the dinosaur analogy. But about this move of the Labour Party, and I was quite particular about votes, translating to votes, if you could judge from the showing. And I also wanted to be clear on where you stand. Is it with the PDP as it is, or just with the Labour Party? Because some have said that, I mean, politicians, I mean, they know how to read the times. They know where the opportunities are. And they've sort of projected. They're looking at this and thinking, okay, maybe let's ride on this wind of the youth. So for you, is this just taking advantage of the opportunity, since it looks like it is a move and something might come out of it? Or is it out of genuine interest for the nation? Because some say if everyone from PDP is moving to the Labour Party, then it might just end up as the same PDP which you're referring to as a dinosaur today. No. The PDP that we are running away from is the PDP that has now become infected with the mindset and the mind share that they saw from the APC. The new Labour Party and the yearnings of the youth is premised on an inclusive Nigeria. That one that we have abandoned doesn't believe in an inclusive enterprise. We now want to move with the youth to a Nigeria where everybody should have a sense of belonging in this enterprise of nation building.
All right. We need to wrap up, but could you tell the youths then, are you still a member of the PDP?
I have effectively ended my membership. You cannot serve a God and a mammon. I have effectively ended my membership of the PDP, sadly, after about 22 years. I have today decided, for the sake of the future of my country, to join the Labour Party and join hands with other people to build a better Nigeria for the tomorrow of our children and our country.
All right, Katch Ononuju is the recently appointed special advisor on public affairs to Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. Thank you for coming on, and all the best.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, we will be back in just a moment. Stay with us.